Alright, so this is long overdue, and it's time to talk about it. We definitely have enough time under our belts, and we have a huge negative experience that we had today that we want to talk about. And, yeah, let's get to it.
What have you been up to?
I've been riding on a daydream.
You guys know that when we went full-time RVing, we were looking for some way to have alternate transportation other than our truck. There's a lot of these parks that we get to, a lot of situations that we get in that allow us to commute different ways. Let's just say different ways. So we picked up a couple electric bikes, and we want to talk about that today. What you're looking at is Rad Power Bikes, and this is one of the most popular manufacturers or sellers of these bikes in the US. We have a Rad Rover 5, that's what this one is, so it's the latest model of this one. And HEIDI's is a Rad City Step Through, and that's a Model 3, that's the latest one at the time of filming. The difference between them is I have a gear-driven hub. It's a 750 watt motor, so they say. And she has this hybrid 750. It's a direct drive. Now, because her tires are smaller, her bike's a little lighter, she's a little lighter, and that motor's efficiency, having regenerative braking, she definitely gets more mileage out of her bike and more speed out of her bike, pedaling it day out, day in, day out. When we're going bike riding together, it always seems like I'm trying to catch up. I need to always be in a higher pedal assist mode, and I need to be giving it more throttle also. So there's a difference between the two. Would I want the Rad City bike? I don't know. I like the big tires. Now, we did a trail in Hillsboro that was barely a trail. I mean, let me rephrase that. It was a true trail, let's say it that way. So we're going to try to take these trails and see what they're like today. See if the bikes can handle it. We are way back into these woods, and I mean, there's nothing for miles. Heidi decided to do some stunt riding earlier. And yeah, she definitely, she don't want to stunt ride through this now, which it's a little shady, but her shoes are just slip-on waterproof. Watch, it's kind of deep there. It's cold? Oh, that'd probably feel pretty good then. Maybe I should have stepped through there. Where are we?
We're in the middle of, no. We're not quite in the middle, but
yeah, we're out there. We're definitely out there. I hear something over here in the woods. It's something big. I'm kidding. I don't know what it is. But we're going to keep on going. We don't know where we're at this point. We're just kind of heading in a general direction. Oh my God, we're not crossing that. Oh man. Holy cow. Okay.
we ain't that outdoorsy.
Yeah, wonder what's in my shoes. So we had to, I'll show you from the other side, but this is what we came up over. All these roots in that. It's over 2 foot deep where that sign is. It was 20 plus inches. And I told Heidi, I said, I don't think I can carry the bike that high through that water because it is moving. It's mucky out there. So anyways, we're back on the so-called trail. Hey, I think we got cell signal. Somebody's asking about the generator we have on Facebook Marketplace. And these big tires really came through. When I'm in sand or gravel or anything like this, these big tires do a really good job. Better than Heidi. Heidi had a little wipeout action with hers. Now, as far as on concrete, just driving around, doing a something like that, some kind of a pathway or something like that, mine's a hindrance. It's harder. It's more rolling resistance. It's harder to pedal. It's harder to get down the road. And the reason that I know that is because of how much energy we expelled from our bodies today. Whenever you get the Rad Rover 5, you don't get a rear rack and you don't get a front rack. On the Rad City, you don't get a front rack, but you do get a rear rack because it's built in. It's part of the bike itself. So we added a lot of options to it. Front racks for both of us. And whenever we added the front racks, the whole light setup, the way it's mounted here, is just, no, it's not very good. But we did make it work. Now in HEIDI's case, we added a basket on this. That has worked out well. And then in my case, I got these two baskets that go on the back, and that's worked out very well. So when we go grocery shopping, we can get a decent amount of groceries on these bikes. HEIDI decided to do like a week's worth of shopping, so we have our baskets pretty much full. And then she said, oh, I'm gonna go back in and get lunch meat too. So she ran back in there to get lunch meat, and I guess we got to go over here so she can get some cigarettes. I don't know. I don't think we could do this with a scooter. So there's where bicycles come in handy. And I can still...
We had like 6 bags of groceries, plastic bags, obviously.
Right.
Just about a week ago.
Right.
I mean, I had this stuff full here. You had your 2 baskets, and I think we had something here, didn't we?
Yeah, I believe we did too. Now you can see on the front here, I've got a camera mount. That's whenever we go through parks and we do some sort of park review. And we have a whole bunch of bungee cords on here too. You definitely need a lot of bungee cords. Now the first thing we did whenever we got the bikes was hate them because the seats weren't comfortable. So we ordered some aftermarket seats. We returned them. We got another set of aftermarket seats, and we didn't like those. And then we got these seats. And these seats, let me just say, they're the most comfortable. But for me, they are very uncomfortable after a long ride. But I think that's just me in general.
Yeah, we did over 31 miles today, and my seat is comfortable.
Mine wasn't. Mine wasn't. I stood up, I don't know how many times, and rode standing on the pedals. So let's talk about the bikes in general. They have good power, and they do a good job with getting you down the road if everything's paved and smooth. But more importantly, as long as you stay under a certain mileage amount. And we found out what that was today. Listen, they advertise that these bikes will do 45 miles plus in range. Listen, Lance Armstrong is getting 45 miles out of these bikes. But as just a normal casual rider, when we left this park today, we were pedaling. We didn't pedal hard, but nonetheless we were pedaling. And we had our pedal assist set no higher than 3 for me. HEIDI always had her set on 1, pedal assist 1. And yet it took me and her, because I use more battery than her, I had to switch my battery with hers more than halfway through the whole thing. And the last 6 miles to 8 miles of the trip, we had no assist. We were pedaling. Terrible. It was 32 miles.
Yeah.
So we did
32 miles, and the last part of it was, like he said, no assist at all. And these bikes are so heavy that you don't want to be pedaling them without battery power.
So what I'm going to say about that is there's other bike manufacturers out there that make more comfortable bikes that maybe don't look like bikes. Mopeds. There's a lot of e-mopeds that are out there. They have pedals, and they are classified, like these bikes are classified, if you look here, as a Class 2 20 mile per hour bike with less than 750 watts. However, the e-moped, has a much bigger seat on it. And there's some of them out there that have dual batteries. Listen, I have no problem with this bike being advertised that it needs dual batteries to go that kind of range. What I have a problem with is the manufacturer advertising that they can go 45 plus miles, 45, over 45 miles, and there is no frickin' way. There is no way for a casual rider it's going to make that. You're talking about 20 miles. So when we go on a trip, we know that we can go 10 miles, and the other 10 miles is for us to get back. The other thing that we had to do, of course, is buy some heavy-duty locks to make sure that we lock this stuff up whenever we stop somewhere for a period of time. The bike has some decent features as far as the gauge is concerned and the way that it reads. The shifting mechanisms are pretty good. Again, I don't think that the ride comfort over a certain amount of time is that great. And we also had an issue. One day, out of the blue, for no reason whatsoever, when we had about, how many miles on it? 150?
150,
Yeah, about 150 miles on them. Heidi says, my headlight's not working. And I said, well, mine is working, but it's going off. You know, I could turn it on, and then it went off within like 3 minutes. And then mine quit doing that altogether, and it quit too. And the contact, to be able to contact Rad Power Bikes, you have to email them. And they always give you a canned message about how busy they are, and they'll eventually get back to you. And it can be anywhere from, I think, as short as 3 days and as long as 10 days before they get back to you. And whenever they get back to you, you know, they should be able to offer you a solution, which they did in our case. But what we had a problem with is they said that we would most likely need a controller. After they talked to their tech guys, we would need a controller so our headlights and taillights started working again. So we had a shop, did the work, but whenever it was in the shop said, and we're on a time constraint. I mean, we're traveling full time here, and the time constraint was we had basically a week. And whenever we brought it to the shop, we told him, hey, we got about a week we can work, you know, have these worked on. He goes, bring them back on Monday. So 3 days went by, or 2 days went by. We brought them in, we dropped them off, and then he said that whenever he started looking into it, that every one of these Rad Power Bikes that he's ever worked on that had a controller problem, it was because the wiring harness was bad. So he suggested the entire wiring harness get replaced. And we said, fine. He goes, well, I'll contact Rad Power Bikes. Well, I thought that maybe he had an inside track to them. But no, he sent an email, and there's no response. There was no response. So after a couple days, now it's getting to the point where we're going to have to leave. So we went ahead and told him, go ahead and make the repair the way that you see fit, and then we will contact Rad Power Bikes and see if we can get reimbursed for all this. How many weeks ago was that?
4?
Yeah, it's been 4 weeks, and we haven't heard nothing about being reimbursed another $200 that we had to shell out for this wiring harness repair. Now, I'll have to say that I believe that mechanic was accurate, because we've never had, you know, no problems with the lights or the controller since then.
Plus, he said that generally, if he doesn't replace them, that you'd be dropping it back off within a week, which would have been my case, because you had the Air 25.
Right. See, there's something too. Whenever we contacted the Rad Power Bikes initially, we had told them that we had a problem with our lights. Well, within 3 days of us dropping off the bikes, it was time for us to drop the bikes off to get them repaired. All of a sudden, I had no assist whatsoever. My power went out completely, and it started flashing Error 25. And that was a wiring harness issue. And again, there's no contact. We have, since we were at Ormond Beach, so this was at Daytona Beach, we have had no contact with them on this issue, even though we've sent numerous emails. And I don't think that we're going to get an answer on this. So as far as their customer service being number one in that, you know, I don't think so. I mean, the way that we have had to deal with their customer service for the last 4 weeks, it's been number 2. I mean, it's just horrible. So let's see, as a summary, do the bikes serve a purpose? Yes, they they're getting to where we can get into town, get our groceries. We can go explore the area. If we find a place that has a bike trail, we can go do the bike trails. That's nice. Does it have the range that they promise? Absolutely not. Does it have comfort? We're not in shape. We're just bike riders, so I'm going to say no. As far as customer service, I don't know how they're ranked anything but last. Quit, if Rad Power Bike's watching this, listen, guys, quit building your new warehouse. Quit trying to sell twice as many units. Quit trying to be number one in the market with that. What you need to do is you need to service the customers that you have. I mean, it just doesn't
Absolutely.
work. Yeah, you can't expand and get bigger if you can't service what you already have. It just doesn't work. That's a little bit on the greed side, to tell you the truth. And I didn't think that's necessarily what the company was about. But, I mean, that's kind of the way it is whenever they tell the customers, listen, you can't talk to anybody personally. Just send it an email and we'll reply to you when we can. It's just wrong. So, as far as pricing on this, whenever we bought them, they had it to where you got $100 off each bike if you bought 2 bikes. So basically $200 off 2 bikes. I think at the time they were $15.99. So, as far as pricing, it's not bad. A lot of people, whenever they see the bikes and they get up close, they think that we paid, maybe $2,000 for them.
They're nice bikes.
Yeah,
I mean, they look nice. I like the looks of them.
They're okay. They're okay. Kind of a pain in the butt to load in and out of the truck with a cap.
Right.
We have to take the front tires off. They're just too tall to fit inside there.
They're not user-friendly for our situation, for
Yeah,
sure.
right. So, again, I think that the biggest takeaway from this is if you plan on traveling less than 10 miles, fine. You'll be fine. I know I mean 10 miles is 10 miles in one direction and then 10 miles back. Definitely no issue. But if you're going to do more than that, and again, you're as big as us and you're pedaling very little, you need another battery. Just to give you an idea, I meant to tell you, since my bike is so more inefficient compared to HEIDI's because it's heavier and it's got me on it, I had to steal HEIDI's battery part of the way back because she had more bars than me. And even with that, I still ran down all the way to nothing.
The last couple miles were
terrible. Last 2 miles there was nothing.
Yeah.
We were just pedaling big heavy
Uphill.
bikes. Yeah, up a hill. So I mean, part of that experience, is part of this negative outlook overall. But I'm going to tell you that if you're looking for a bike in general, there's a lot of junk out there. I don't consider these junk. I just think that they fell short of what they promised. And the fact I can't contact customer service really bugs me a lot, especially when they're in the U.S. So if I'm going to get the customer service brush off, even though they did get us new controllers.
But they quit responding after that.
And the funny part is, getting back to the controller thing, there's a disconnect between customer service and what actually happens. Because as we're traveling down the road, and moving from spot to spot, we wanted to know when exactly will they be shipped, and we can give you an address to ship them to. And they couldn't do it. They could not give us an address of when it would ship and where we would be at that time. And that's kind of what happened with the bike delivery. We had no idea when the bikes would actually arrive whenever we ordered them. They kind of could tell us, but they couldn't tell us exactly. So that was an issue.
A lot of extra work.
Yeah, we had to
change an address.
We had to fly. We had to haul butt to Florida a little bit faster than we expected because we were planning on it to be shipped to Florida when we were here. Problem is all of a sudden we got a notification that said, "Hey, your bike shipped." What? It wasn't supposed to have shipped for another week. So it's just the communication part of things. Working in customer service. I think that it's going to be hard to satisfy somebody who was ISO certified in customer service and was an ISO internal auditor for customer service.
And I was in customer service for 24 years. So.
Yeah, it's just, it doesn't work. Their customer service is lacking. I don't care what they say about what ranking they are in that. It's lacking. You can't do that. I mean, it's a millennial type thing that is going on there, but and I know that a lot of millennials don't necessarily understand what true customer service is, truly bending over backwards, understanding that the customer needs to be treated like a king regardless. I understand that, and that's not true of all. I mean, I am stereotyping and grouping in a lot of people, but I mean, you get that sense. The product's pretty good. I like the way that it's marketed. I like the way that it looks. But as far as bikes that are out there, I don't know. Like in my case, it's not buyer's remorse. We've got over 200 miles on the units now, and we've had them for over 6 months. Would I buy them again? Well, in my case, for mine, no. I would get the Hemingway, because all the tests, all the reviews I've seen, all the stuff I've seen as far as videos online, the Hemingway, which looks really close to this one, is got a better motor on it, better power plant, and if it's better to start with as far as performance, it's going to be more efficient. It's probably going to do better overall. In Heidi's case, she likes hers. I'm glad that we got her the step through, and you could tell she's comfortable with it. She can definitely ride longer than I can with mine, but I don't know. For the money, though, they're still a really good deal, but there's a lot of competition out there, and depending on what you want to spend, you can definitely get better if you want to spend a little bit more. But we wanted to do a review on this because everybody has talked about it, has asked us about them, and we've been putting it off till we got a good feel for what these things can do. And basically storing them in the back of the truck's a little rough, even with a cap, and the weight, to pick them up, to put them in the back of the truck's pretty heavy. But as far as them being a feasible means of transportation, that all depends. We've ridden on some roads that were right next to cars zinging by at 45 miles an hour. We've also been on bike trails that has been really pleasant and a great experience. So it's still up to you. I can't give you a definite answer. I think in my case, knowing now what I know, I wouldn't buy mine, but I think that Heidi would have bought hers for sure. And I don't know how to replace mine, tell you the truth. I don't know. It does fit a need. That's the problem. For me, it fits a need still. So we have a reason to keep them, but I think I'll be shopping. I think I'll be looking. It all depends. So if you like this video, click like or subscribe. And if you have any questions, just put them down in the comments and maybe we can give you an answer. But tell you the truth, I don't know how much more we could cover on that. So as always,
we hope to see you out here. Bye.
Bye.